Hi, I'm Kedrick Scribner of the Kedrick Scribner Foundation. I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria at the United Church of Jesus Christ in Nigeria, aka Haken Church. It's located out in Mounted Troop Barracks. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. My heart is just so happy. We just finished the Widow's Might 3.0, which is an event that was just birthed in my heart to support the widows of the fallen heroes of the Nigerian police force. And you lose, as a police officer loses their life, and then that source of income is gone. What happens to the wife? What happens to the children? And see, that's why we're here. And that's why the Kedrick Scribner Foundation has come to support the widows of the fallen heroes of the Nigerian police force. We came here at the aka Haken Church, and we met Pastor Daniel Nehu. He told us about the plight of the widows. And a lot of people say, oh, well, why the police force? Oh, the police are this and the police are that. It doesn't matter that that you feel that the police are a certain way. It doesn't matter that you feel that, oh, they don't respect us, they don't love us. What happens to when they lose their husband? What happens in service? What happens to the children? And we're just so blessed that the aka Haken Church here at the Mounted Troop Barracks takes in as many as they can. The rest that they can't take in to live on top of the hill has to go live in a valley. And let me tell you, I've been to the valley. It's 10 stories deep. They take pieces of wood to make houses. They don't have a bathroom, but it just so happened that God provided a stream of water with two rocks, where a stream of fresh water gives them, water that they can drink. Widow's Might 1.0 was where some of my friends, I got together with them and said, hey, I want to do something for the widows, some of my sponsors. And I said, guys, I want to help. And they said, okay. And I would like to thank some of them for supporting me. Coons Ford of Baltimore, STEM City USA, and my company, Police Security Group back in Baltimore. They gave me the resources to be able to do all that I do for the widows. When we talk about showing love and support, it's all led by God. Widows 1.0 was where we came in and we wanted to feed the widows. So we fed over 80 widows 25 kg of rice, a gallon of oil, sauces, spices, dried milk, everything possible for them to have a meal to sustain them for 3 to 4 months. Then we came back on June the 23rd, 24th, and 25th for a 3-day service. So I noticed that some of the widows were sick and needed medical attention, and that was one of the things that I was told that they needed. So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, if they need that, then let's provide it for them. And so I brought in a bus from Lagos State to come in and do medical testing. And what they didn't know was that we provided medical insurance for 180 widows. And that was just, for them to be able to go to the hospital, get medication, get treatment, and all the things that they need, to get healthy so that they can support their children. Because as you can see, there's a lot of young children in this area. And so I wanted to make sure that the mothers and the mothers were taken care of and the widows were taken care of, so that the lifespan of the children can have that proper instruction and be taught the right way. Widows 3.0 was where, okay, now we want to provide vocational services. Now the vocational services is, okay, so I asked the pastor, I was like, well, what's some of the things that the widows that we could do to help them make money, to support their families, to support the children? And he said, oh, well, some of them would like to sew. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, Pastor, solicit a instructor that will teach them all phases of sewing, how to be a tailor, from learning how to cut patterns, learning how to work the pedal machine, learning how to be able to do everything that they need to to be able to make traditional dress, whether it's shirts, whether it's any type of sewing that needs to be done, from cutting a pattern, from learning how to lay out, from learning how to stitch, anything dealing with sewing. And see, that way we can help them develop a skill. And what we're also doing is we provided fabrics. So we also going to have more fabrics come as they get later in the program. We're going to be having a more than likely a palette of fabric to come, so that they can take that initial investment, turn it around, and then what the money does is when they go out and sell the clothing, they bring the money back to the community. Not just for themselves, but there's other widows that just can't work. There's other widows that don't have, physically, they just can't go out and do anything. So all of the money that's made comes back to the community, so it can be spread out to everybody. And so I think that's a more of a rewarding type thing, that it invests in the whole community. And the other thing that we decided was some of the widows don't know anything about computers. So why not teach them teach them beginning computing and to advance, so that they can go out and get jobs in offices, work in accounting, work in the mall, in shops and stuff like that. But they need to know computers. So we decided to purchase 3 laptops and brought them in with a commercial printer. And so that's so that they can have a certificate course for 3 months to learn computers. And I'm telling you, it's a blessing to be able to invest in people to get knowledge and understanding. And I'm just so happy to be able to do this, and the sacrifice that God has placed me to be able to, invest in people. And I don't know if you've ever seen someone, when I first came here, I looked in the widows' faces and a lot of them didn't have hope. And it broke my heart. And I've had a widow, I'll never forget it. One of the widows came to me and she said, I was about to give up on life. And she said, you coming 8,333 miles to see me, to see us. Somebody who don't even know us, that don't have no political aspirations or anything. I'm an American. But just for you to come and keep coming to see us means a whole world of difference. Now I can go on. Now I can have hope. And just to see their faces today and the joy and the happiness, it just does my heart good. And I thank God for blessing me to be a man of God, to know what it's like. I came from the ghetto. I came from the projects. My mom struggled, with all 5 of us. And she did the best she could. I just thank the Lord that I'm here to be able to invest in other people that otherwise wouldn't have any hope. And I pray that God continues to bless my life to be able to continue to come back and do more things. Because this is not the end. This is not the end. And just like we're not just reaching the people in the AKA Haken community, but we're reaching other barracks. And we plan to go to other places like Enugu, go to Abuja, to all the other police barracks to support the widows of the fallen heroes of the Nigerian police force. I know a lot of people think that the Nigerian police are bad. They're not bad. You got to look at the circumstances. And, sometimes we got to look at the reality. Sometimes the Nigerian police officer can't even take care of their own self. The pay is kind of low. So what happens is when you see police officers go astray and you see them, it's not because they want to. It's because their pay is so bad that they can't make ends meet. And so it causes a person to do whatever they can do to gain more income. I'm not saying that it's right. And I'm not saying the government is at fault, because every government has their issues and have their allotments. But I solicit the help of everyone in the country to support the widows. because they're not their husbands. And that's where you gotta look at it. Yes, their husbands were in service, but the widows have nothing to do with that. The husbands come home, and then all of a sudden they don't come home and they die in service. Oh yeah, the other thing that we did here, the Kedrick Scribner Foundation, the other thing that we did here was there was a need for a school here. And originally the school was very, very small, had a few kids. And I said, Pastor, you know, what are we doing to educate the children in this community? And he says, well, we have a school, but we're in need of books. We're in need of classrooms. We're in need of uniforms. We're in need of, you know, other different types of textbooks and things like that. I said, well, Pastor, what do you need? And he said, this is what we need. And so I said, okay, I'll donate 1 million towards that cause. And then one of my friends, Miss Victoria Haystrup, came in and she said, I'll donate 1 million. And so thank you, Ms. Haystrup, for supporting the children here. I understand that the classes have grown and the school is getting bigger and bigger. And also paying the tuition was a big part of that too. And I'm so happy to be able to do that, you know, because education is so important. It's the children's way out of the situations that they're in, to support their families. You know, if a child gets an education, they can come and invest back into their parents. I'm so happy to support the children through the school at AKA Haken Church. What we've done in the past was on the 24th, we had a career talk. And through that career talk, we provided 25 scholarships to the widow's children to go to university for 4 years. So that was one of the programs that I want to continue to do for the widow's children. And not only that, we also want to be able to, for the widows, there's a local drink that the widows make that they love to sell called Canoe. And one of my goals is to get that patent, bottled, and distributed throughout Nigeria and all over the world. So we can package that medicinal drink and sell it. That money will come back into the community to support all of the widows, not just individual widows, but all of them collectively. So that's one of the things that we plan to do. And hopefully our next event, we'll have that accomplished. We're going to speak to a couple of the bottling companies to see if we can accomplish that. And we're in the process of getting a formula from the widows so that it can be duplicated in large quantities. And so that's another goal that we plan to do.